Hi everyone, welcome to another Employability Live. My name is Sam and I'm the founder of Turnheads. I'm here with the wonderful Wendy as well from Skills Mansion, and we join forces every Wednesday to discuss employability skills in the creative industry. We do this by sharing our own lived experiences, insights and tips for you. And we hope that by doing this, we will inspire and help other emerging creatives trying to find their first jobs or clients in the creative industries. So today we are joined by Tom Merry. He's a recent grad from Brunel University who's here to tell us about his experience during his placement year and also his recent internship post-graduation. So welcome, Tom. Thanks for being here. And I just wondered, could you maybe start by telling us how you secured your first placement and describe what you've learned from working in an industry environment for the first time?
So my first placement was at a studio called Peter Anderson Studio, and this was between my second and third year of university. And this was secured pretty much by the university had very good industry links, so it meant I was able to sort of use those to my advantage, I suppose. Peter Anderson has a very good relationship with the university, so they had students from the previous years go there, and they were kind of looking for another motion designer to sort of fill the space, I suppose. So I just made an application like as anyone else would, and sent in my portfolio. At that time I think I had a website and an Instagram set up, and then sort of waited a couple of weeks, and then got an email asking to go in for an interview, and then sort of showed them my portfolio, and then the next day got a job offer. So that's how I got that position.
Brilliant.
And then what was the second part of the question?
I think just like when you kind of got you got in the door, you got given the placement opportunity. I think it'd be cool to know like what kind of struck you the most, I guess, from kind of working in industry environment for the first time as opposed to university.
I suppose the pace was quite a shocker to me. The first time I went in, I suppose as a student, like you get given 3 months to work on an assignment, so you can't just push it back, or you just sort of you've got so much time, so you can kind of do really small amounts over a long period. Whereas as soon as I worked at Peter Anderson Studio and at Art and Graft as well, it was sort of, it kind of hits you like how quickly things need to be turned around, which is really, really good, because I think deadlines are important to sort of keep structure and keep the work moving forwards. That was definitely like the biggest shocker to me, especially at Peter Anderson Studio. But I think a good piece of advice from that, I suppose, is don't be, it's kind of scary because you kind of think like, oh, I have to be working at this pace as well. But especially if you're coming as a junior or an intern, like there's not, like, you should be progressing and doing work, but probably not to begin with the first month or two, just sort of settling in at the pace that everyone else is working, because it's all new to you. You need to get used to the structure of the studio, the file structure, just getting to know people and how they work as well. So I suppose like it's making sure you give yourself enough time to actually just settle into the role and how the studio operates.
Yeah. And did you then apply that kind of learning back into your uni projects when you got back, or did you kind of settle back into the luxury of 2 months deadlines?
I think it was a mix. I think I definitely think my file organization was a lot better, so I was a lot more efficient time wise with that sort of thing at the university. And time as well overall, I think I structured a lot better. Like I had a better understanding of how long it took me to do things, whereas I think going into my placement year, if someone asked me how long something's going to take to do, I'd probably and ah about it a long time and be off by like half a day or so. But I think when I went back, I just knew how long something was going to take to do, and then I knew how much time I should give myself to do it, and if there's going to be like iterations of it and things like that.
And what kind of jobs were you given to do? Were you working across lots of, were you doing a bit of branding, a bit of animation? What was kind of the mix?
Yeah, I think that was the most exciting thing for me about going into motion design or motion graphics, like internship, was that any day could be like so different from the previous. The nice thing about like the way a project's structured is obviously you start off with like references and mood boards, and then move to style frames and animatics, and then to like motion tests, and then like sort of final output. And I could be jumping from one part of a project that's somewhere down the pipeline to another the next day. So one day it could be working on some style frames for a pitch, and then the next day it could be working on an animation for a 3D project or something. And I think that was just the nicest thing, just going into either of my both internships, was just straight away just jumping into these huge projects and just sort of just getting really involved really, really quickly. And it was just really, really nice, and especially the pace as well, because it kept everything moving. I constantly was just sort of learning so much and soaking so much of the atmosphere in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fantastic. And so you've obviously graduated now. Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
And so you've now moved on to another place, haven't you? So do you want to tell us a bit about art and craft?
Yeah, so I think I was applying for jobs when I was in my final year of uni, probably from about March, April time. And then literally, I think sometime in May, the Art and Craft posted a internship opportunities post. And at that point, I was just like, oh, I need to like get my portfolio together for this one, like really, really make sure it's like as good as it can be. And, I've got to make sure I've got a good cover letter, my CV's like perfect. And so, yeah, I sort of spent, and honestly, like about 2 or 3 days sort of making sure it was all really, really right. 'Cause I think at that point, I was only sending over my sort of PDF portfolio and Instagram. And then when I applied for Art and Craft, I was like, I need to make a show reel. So I made a 20-second, like a short 20-second show reel, which I think worked quite well because it was just a really, really good intro to my work and allowed sort of the opportunity for like a bigger conversation to talk more about each project that was within it. But yeah, then I think about 2 or 3 weeks after applying to Art and Craft, I got the opportunity to sort of have like an interview, sort of an informal chat about my portfolio and sort of what I'm about and what I like doing. And then I think literally I think it was an hour after the interview, I got an email back saying, yeah, we'd love to take you on. So yeah, then
Wow.
I think I got offered that just as I was handing in my final project. And then I sort of decided, okay, I'll take a month off. I think that's well earned. And then I started sort of the start of July, and then my internship finishes on the 1st of October, and then I start full time from the 4th.
Yeah. Brilliant. So do you think that decision to make a show reel and show your portfolio in motion really, really helped you kind of secure that opportunity?
Yeah, definitely. And I think shorter is better as well. Like the short and sweet really, really kind of helps. I've seen quite a lot of show reels that are like over a minute long, and I think when you sort of start looking at things where like there's one scene that's like 4 or 5 seconds, you kind of start to lose interest. And I think really, really like make the edit kind of have some sort of narrative, or at least like be very, very well cut to the beat. It doesn't take too much effort to sort of just really, really narrow down your projects to like a few really, really key moments, and don't feel like you have to fill out like a whole minute or a whole song's worth of stuff from your portfolio. It's just, I literally just picked out like 3 or 4 projects, and maybe some of the small personal bits as well that I was just like really proud of and was the work that I want to be doing. So I think that's what stood out to Art and Craft as well, was and I kind of did tailor my show reel to the sort of thing that they like doing as much as possible. But I suppose that's how I did it.
Yeah. Wendy, do you have any questions? I feel like I'm hogging the questions.
No, you know what? I was so, like really intrigued by your journey. Your journey seems to all have started while you're still at university. And I think a lot of grads can learn from that, you don't have to wait until you completely come out. The whole process can begin while you're studying. My question, I have... I've been with students, helping them prepare their CVs, portfolios, and for interviews or for an application for a job. But how useful did you find the projects that you did while you're in uni, when you were applying for your first internship? How did you find them useful in getting you into an internship and then finally into where you are now?
I suppose like you mean as in like how my uni project helped get.
Yeah, did you feel that actually
Yeah.
helped you in your portfolio? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's being strategic. You kind of have to be a bit smart about the way you do your final projects, whether it's your final project or any other optional modules. I think trying to relate them as much as you can to the industry and what is expected. So say, for example, one of my projects, obviously like so many videos are all 16:9 ratio or 1:1, but it's becoming so popular now with social media that you need a 9:16 portrait video. So for most of my projects that year, I was outputting, portrait videos. So I was thinking about not just the sort of standard sort of, landscape screen. I was thinking about the portrait mode as well. And I think that was really, really helpful. And I think just, making your projects feel as like real and well lived in as possible, and keep asking yourself why whilst you're doing your project. Really, really helps, because I think sometimes you get a bit lost in just sort of the making it look really, really good, and sometimes you need to just stop and think like, am I going too far with this sort of thing, and does it still tell the story that I'm trying to tell?
Yeah, now that's a really powerful example you've given, that it's important to really look at your projects, make them relevant, and I think the big takeaway is making sure that whatever you're doing at university is not a waste. It's not just a project, it's something you take.
I think as well, like I think a lot of university projects, sometimes people like sort of, oh, why am I doing this? Like, why is it sort of, I mean, and I don't know, at Brunel, it was very, very open. So the brief kind of gave you the basic structure of like the output. So it's like, you need to check these boxes by the time you hand it in. But what you actually do within that time is kind of up to you. And I think sometimes students just sort of literally just tick the boxes, and then they're like, okay, I'll tick the boxes, I'll get the grade, I'll get the job. And I think you kind of need to go a bit beyond that a lot of the time, and sort of, either in just like ticking the boxes, but still kind of having the project that could be pushed further. I know that like with uni projects, I've done them to the university standard of what they want, but then I've in my own time just taken the project further to just for my own portfolio's sake.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great advice. Literally, taking a brief the next stage further. But thank you for your contribution on that. I think that'll be helpful for a lot of students preparing for the world of work.
I think that's a really good point, because it's kind of like changing from an education scenario where you're being marked by specific points into an industry environment where it's more emotion, it's more storytelling. There's a lot more kind of behind what you're doing. So that is a really good point to make. And so I guess to finish off then, what would be your tips looking back now? You've kind of done a couple of placements, you've secured a job off the back of your most recent one. What would you say to kind of, younger Tom at the start of your experience, and to people applying now?
Probably get a good file structure going and stick to it. There's just certain times when you can just sort of get lost in projects and you kind of save something somewhere, and then a few weeks later you need to find it again, and it's like, I forgot where that one is. Like, so it takes a lot longer to find things again. And also, I think from a specific, like from a motion graphics point of view, it's learning as much as you learn in graphic design, your core graphic principles. I think animation, motion design, whether you're animating text or animating a character, like the 12 principles of animation just follow through like constantly. So I think just definitely learn those and know how and when to apply them. I think was like a really big thing, especially in my final year. I sort of sometimes realized I was just animating things for like no reason without thinking about it, and it's once again just sort of stopping yourself and asking like, why is this? Why am I doing this sort of thing? But so a good file structure and just learning your core principles, especially with both in motion design from an animation point of view and design. Like one can't happen without the other.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Tom. Thanks so much for giving up your lunchtime for us. And yeah, we hope you found this helpful. Please do comment below. And if there's any other subjects that you want us to cover, please let us know as well. We're always, you know, up for covering any subjects that you want us to. So yeah, let us know in the comments and share with your friends. And we will see you next week.
Yes. Thank you, Tom.
That's all right.
See you
Anytime.
later.
Thank you.